Ухамсарт ертөнцид амьдрах үе мэдрэлийн мэссэлчийн ухамсарын гүнд хийсэн аялал номын зохиолчид доктор Эбен Александр болон хатагта Карен Ньювел нартай хийсэн 4 хэсэг ярилцлагын 3 дугаар хэсэгт тавтай морилно. Алдарт мэдрэлийн мэс засалч доктор Эбен Александр деваажин байдгийн баталгаа мэдрэлийн мэс засалчийн үхлийн дараах амьдралын аялал номдоо бичсэн клиник үхлийн талаар амьдралыг нь өөрчилсөн хүчрхэг түүхийг хуваалцсан билээ. Уг ном нь Нью-Йорк Таймс-ийн номер 1 шилдэг борлуулалттай ном болсон бөгөөд бүтэн жилийн турш эхний 10-т багтсан байна. Түүний 2 дахь ном Деваажингийн газрын зураг, шинжлэх ухаан, шашин болон энгийн хүмүүс хэрхэн үхлийн дараах амьдралыг баталж байна ном 2014 онд нийтлэгджээ. 2017 онд тэрээр 3 дахь ном болох Ухамсарт ертөнцид амьдрах үе мэдрэлийн мэс засалчийн ухамсарын гүнд хийсэн аялал номоо хатагта Карен Ньювелтэй бичсэн байна. Энэхүү гүн утга агуулгатай ном нь доктор Александрын клиник үхлээс хойших амьдралын аялал болон утга учирыг өгүүлдэг. Энэ нь мөн хувь хүмүүс сэрц сэхэрхийн ач тусыг хүртэх дадлуудыг санал болгодог.
Well, essentially, we are one with the universe. That is one of the deep lessons coming out of quantum physics and a deeper understanding of consciousness and its fundamental nature. I think in deep meditation and certainly in watching the evolution of my life over the 10 years since my coma, I've come to realize very deeply the role of the natural world and how it is merely an expression of who we are.
Oregon, where I grew up, it's a beautiful nature setting, and so I would do this. I would go out in the woods to commune with God, and I would wonder, where is God? And I didn't see what I thought God should be, kind of a man in a robe that came down on a cloud or a beam of light. And so I thought, well, I'm going to commune with nature. And so I would feel myself connecting with the trees, the ocean, the bugs, the ferns, anything that was alive. It was just a beautiful experience to do that. And later in life, what I realized so deeply is that I was connecting with God, God being the force that connects us all, that oneness that binds us all together, that's made of love at its core. We can all access that by really connecting with nature and feeling what it feels like to be in a certain place, a beautiful place. Not just thinking about it and admiring it with our minds, but feeling our connection to those trees, to those animals, to everything in nature, because we are all a part of that.
Доктор Александр болон хатагта Ньювелийн хайр, нэгүүлсэл, нэгдмэл байдлын маш сайхан мэдээлэл нь гариг маань дэлхийн дулаарлын одоогийн хямралд нэн чухал юм.
I believe that's one of the main reasons that we are awakening now, that humanity is awakening to this oneness that we share with nature, with each other, with a divine creative force, is because we painted ourselves into a dark corner. Burning fossil fuels over more than a century has without question loaded up our atmosphere and caused this deadly heating that basically has now threatened probably about a third of the world's species with possible extinction. If we keep burning fossil fuels, we'll go deeper and deeper in that hole. So it's absolutely imperative that human beings awaken now to this reality and do everything we can to get off of fossil fuels and come up with sustainable and more natural forms of energy that do not harm the environment and do not exterminate species.
Хямралаас инх тайм тэмээх номд буй уур амьсгалын өөрчлөлт болон түүний шийдлийн талаарх бүх мэдээлэл нь шинжлэх ухааны баталгаа нотолгоонд үндэслэн бичигдсэн юм а. Дараах хаягаар үнгүй татаж авна уу. crisis2peace.org.
I would add that our materialist culture assumes that it's birth to death and nothing more, and many people might assume that, well, we're not going to be around in 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. Why do we need to worry about the planet? And in reality, scientific evidence shows that we actually return. Our souls are eternal, and we come back again into bodies to re-experience life. Something called reincarnation, but there's actually scientific evidence in the form of work done by University of Virginia in past life memories in children. They've documented many cases of children who remember their past lives, and they've been able to actually validate those occurrences. So it really is an imperative for us to take care of this planet in a way that we would be able to return to and thrive in future lifetimes.
Доктор Александр болон хатагтай Ньювел нар манай боловсролын систем залуучуудыг сүнслэг байдалтайгаа холбогдоход урам зориг хайрлаж, эрхэм сайн чанаруудыг суулгахад чухал үүрэг гүйцэтгэдэг болохыг тайлбарласан юм.
Physicists are realizing that we live in a mental universe. Those who study consciousness are coming to realize that the physical universe is merely a projection out of the mental, that consciousness is so fundamental. And therefore, what I think we need to do is ingrain in our educational systems something much more aligned with that golden rule. So instead of training people to be one-up, better than, wealthier than, more ambitious than someone else, we actually build into our educational system from the ground up the notion that we're really here to help each other, to rejoice in sharing our own gifts to the world that can serve to make the world a better place, and work into our educational system something much more along the lines of the ideals of our teaching from those who have had deep spiritual experience, realize the connectedness of all life, that we're really here to take care of each other, and really build that in from the ground up so that our youngest children realize that the greatest value is helping others, and that is the greatest way to love self is through expressing love for others, and then we can turn our attention and our energies to really making this world a much better place for all. There's plenty of wealth in this world to go all around, but we need to know how to distribute that in a better fashion that is more serving to the original intent of every soul who incarnates.
I would add that in education, we need to teach our children how to firsthand feel that inner sense of self. And I know there's studies going on right here in the US. For example, in Baltimore, there's an inner city school where children who got in-school suspension, say they did something to get in trouble in class, they used to get sent to a room where they had to sit quietly and maybe write a report or something. And instead, what this school does is they send these children to what they call the mindful moment room. And in that room, they're asked to sit quietly, to go within, to feel a sense of inner energetic self, and to think about what they just did and how it may have impacted those around them. And what's so amazing is how effective this program is. Children who go to this school, they now have a 0% suspension rate. Nobody is getting kicked out of school because they're all learning how to be more compassionate to their co-students. And it's really heartening to see this approach rather than the simple pharmaceutical approach of just giving children medicines to keep them calm in class. We can all learn to do this ourselves just by figuring out how to find that still space inside. And if our schools could start teaching that at a very young age, our world could truly become a better place.
Хамаг төрөлтнүүд Бурхны хайраар нэг нэгнээ хайрлан хүндэлдэг тийм дэвшилт дэлхийг бид мөрөөддөг. Улам олон хүмүүс жинхэнэ нэгүүлсэнгүй төрхөө олж сэрээвээс энэ мөрөөдөл удахгүй биелэх боломжтой билээ. Ухамсарт ертөнцид амьдрахгүй хэмээх доктор Эбен Александрын бүтээлийн талаар дэлгэрэнгүй мэдээллийг дараах хаягаар авна уу. Эбен Александр Цикком. Ариун авиа судлалын талаарх дэлгэрэнгүй мэдээллийг дараах хаягаар авна уу. Sacred Acoustics Цикком. Өнөөдөр бидэнтэй хамт байсан эрхэм үзэгчид та бүхэндээ баярлалаа.